Select a new category.
Faith and fortune. 7.
If you met God, what would you ask her?
For her phone number.
All right, do you want to introduce yourself?
Introduce myself?
Yeah, introduce the podcast.
You always throw this on me.
I do, don't I?
Yeah, why don't you just...
my thing.
Yeah, why don't you just do it?
Hi there, welcome to the podcast.
Hi there.
I've slightly fucked up this time.
Oh, why?
Can you believe that? I was all set to do Kerrang 706, which you can see there. No, Kerrang 700.
Yeah.
I've lost all my annotations. So,
oh, you bloody idiot.
So that'll have to be another time. So I'm going to jump into an issue of Q, which I do annotations in because it's in real life on paper.
Right.
So the copy of Kerrang I had was a PDF. I'd made some annotations while we were watching Married at First Sight.
Right, rude.
Australia. And all my annotations have disappeared, but I will.
Oh, nightmare.
We'll get to that. We'll get to that in future episodes. But
absolute nightmare.
Do you know some pod news?
Go on.
This will be episode 46.
Okay.
So what does that mean?
Something significant about 46?
Well, no, but we're coming.
What are we talking about?
We're coming up on issue 50, episode 50.
Right.
That's exciting, isn't it? We've done
Is that it?
50 of these.
Right, but you lead in saying it's 46. Do you know what's interesting about that? So
Maybe
what's interesting about 46 is nothing. And then what's interesting about 47?
episodes.
Nothing. What about 48? Nothing. 49? Nothing. The next one, right. You need to learn how to tell stories.
I'm not a marketer.
What?
I'm not a marketer. You're a marketer.
Hardly. But I'm a human being who understands stories.
Yeah, but you work in marketing. So you'd be able to do that better. You'd be
Everyone works in marketing nowadays.
Don't mention issue 50. So we have to think of something special to do for episode 50.
Yeah, it'll be really special.
Yeah,
it'll be really special.
Well, it's probably going to be Kerrang 50, isn't it?
What's Kerrang 50?
It's just the 50th issue of Kerrang.
Oh, right, okay.
Or we could do issue 1, or we could do the most recent issue, or we could do like
most recent
issue
not
500.
a chance. One is quite a good idea.
Number 1.
Yeah, that's more interesting.
We can do number 1.
I don't care about the 50th one.
I mean, I've had a look at issue 50. It's not that different from issue 1.
Well, yeah. So let's do 1.
So before we start, do you have a deep cut?
Did I? The problem is I occasionally hear something and think, and then by the time you ask me, I've completely forgotten.
Right.
So probably I should message you when I'm thinking about stuff. Do I have something? I don't think I do.
Do you know what?
Do I?
If you just think of it, just tell me as we go. It doesn't matter, does it?
No.
Have you got anything else you want to share with our listeners?
YouTube told me that I was in the top whatever % of Fleetwood Mac listeners.
0.5.
Was it?
Yeah.
I haven't got my phone on me. I did obviously take a screenshot.
It was pretty impressive.
Yeah. I mean, die-hard Fleetwood Mac fans would probably be angry given that it was like 3 songs. But it is what it is, isn't it? A win's a win.
But that's 3 more than most people.
True.
Yeah.
So that's
not
my,
to be sniffed at.
It's my achievement.
Do you want to share which 3 songs they were?
Well, I think everyone could guess, wouldn't they?
Not necessarily.
Well, Seven Wonders, Landslide, and Silver Springs, obviously. And then, but because obviously I've listened to those loads, it does suggest other ones and it plays other ones. So I have listened to other ones, but I have to say the top 3 is obviously those.
What are some of the other ones?
Just all the classics.
Just the classics.
It's classics. I don't think there's any deep cuts.
The Chain, Go Your Own Way.
It never really plays Go Your Own Way.
Does it not?
No. Which is weird.
S1, probably.
Well, subjective, isn't it?
Yeah.
Right, so...
Well, according to me...
do you want to say what we've been doing today?
Yeah. What is that? That's the hatch to the loft.
The loft hatch.
We've painted it blue.
Yeah.
And we've stuck some stars on it.
Yeah. Which, when you say it like that, sounds really childish, doesn't it? But it looks... I mean, yeah, it looks childish, but it looks better than you'd imagine, doesn't it?
Do you want to explain why you did it?
I think you've just sneezed side all over your face.
Yeah, I'll cut that out.
Oh.
I won't. I always say I'll cut things out. I never do.
What did you ask me?
Do you want to explain why you wanted to do that?
Oh, well, I don't know why that occurred to me, but we're trying to make the house more interesting. Oh, there's a cat scraping in the litter tray next to us. That's nice. I hope that's...
Luckily, you won't be able to smell it because he's probably going to have a poo, isn't he?
Oh, bringing the tone down of the podcast.
But you were talking about romanticising your life, weren't you?
Yeah. Watching a hell of a lot of cottagecore stuff on YouTube. And witchy core stuff and stuff like that.
Do you want to briefly explain what that is to our largely male over 50s audience?
Well, it's like I don't know. How would you describe it to someone who doesn't? Because you'd be better describing it.
Sort of rustic, goth, slightly goth flavoured, sort of autumnal.
Yeah. Autumn and plays a big part. Spring then plays a big part.
Yeah.
Obviously at the moment, but
I don't really know how to describe it.
Just nice, gentle, nice.
Yeah.
Cozy.
Yeah, not brutalist, not sort of urban. It's very sort of.
They sometimes call it Grannycore.
Right.
You know.
Grannycore.
Well, so, I don't think I've made up Grannycore, but.
Yeah, you think of a cottage, think of a granny living in it, right?
Yeah. So yeah, that's what we've been up to today. Oh, and you dug out the old candelabra. We've got a really big, candelabra, like a floor standing candelabra in the garage that's been there for ages. And I've decided, we should put it in the house because it was in our old house, but we've just we never had it in this house, have we? I don't think. Have we?
I don't know.
Oh, I'm asking you. You won't know. But so I made you get that out of the garage, which you enjoyed doing, didn't you?
Yes.
Garage is easy to get to, full of stuff. So that's our really fun weekend.
That's making things more cottage Corey, though, isn't it?
Yeah. Well, I was thinking about getting some sort of faux flowers and twirling them up it. I thought that might be nice. Right. Yeah. So we'll see. Stay tuned for more riveting Kerrang content.
You've got a like a fashion designer's dummy thing with flowers in, haven't you?
Yes.
What's that?
Like a mannequin. Yeah, like a mannequin, but without the head. So yeah, it would be like a dummy thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. So there you go. Fun. But apart from that, tell me some Q news, not Kerrang news.
Q well,
news.
Okay, so we've rapidly pivoted to canoes. This week we're looking at Q number 32. So get out your copy now. It's from May 1989.
Oh.
All right. Okay. So in this issue, it's the modern guide to music and more.
Modern.
We've got a picture of Sting with his shirt off and with like paint on him, and it says "on the woad" again. Britain to split, musical differences blamed. Cracked inside the minds of Robert Smith, and Heartbreak, Hope, and Hey, Life's Implication. Peter Gabriel.
Why does it say on the woad again?
Woad is like that blue body paint that like Celtic warriors would have.
Like Braveheart.
Like Braveheart, yeah, he had woad. I don't know if it's. I mean, I think he's in the Brazilian rainforest.
How do you know that?
I know all sorts about the Celts.
All right. You don't often talk about the Celts.
You don't
The
ask.
Celts. Do you say that? The
The
Celts.
Celts, yeah.
Okay. God, I'm learning so much today.
That's the only thing I know about the Celts.
Right.
Okay, so we got an interview with David Crosby in Who the Hell Does David Crosby Think He Is? I won't get
What's the famous line in Braveheart?
something about freedom.
Oh, is
You
that
can take our lives. You can't take our
okay.
freedom.
I just couldn't remember. Okay, carry on.
Okay, yeah, I don't know if you remember the Who the Hell feature, but it basically is you get a famous person and you give them enough rope and they just make them look like an idiot. It's a bit cruel, really.
Oh.
But
Bullying.
Hmm?
Bullying.
not really bullying, just sort of
Mean Girls behaviour, isn't it?
you just sort of let them, look a bit stupid. But I did like this quote. I'm strongly anti-war, but defence of hearth and home. Sure, I'll stick up for that. I'm not a total pacifist. I've shot at people. I've missed, but I shot at them. I'm sort of glad I missed.
Jesus.
Yeah.
Right.
I don't know if you can really call yourself a pacifist if you have shot.
No, I don't think you can. I don't think misses counts as it. 'Cause I'm assuming the missing wasn't on purpose. Who
Possibly.
knows?
I think he was talking about someone breaking into his house or something.
Oh.
So there's a little feature on Richard Curtis, and at the time he wasn't very well known. This was pre-Love Actually and all that business, pre-Four Weddings. But he's just talking about TV comedy writers. So the first part is, quote, I met up with Ben Elton during the pilot of Spitting Image, and we started writing together because he seemed cheerful. We both wanted to write a sitcom for Madness, and I said, let's meet in a week and discuss it. When we did, he'd already written 2 episodes, which is very typical Ben, but obviously nothing came of it. So, we could have had a, sitcom written by those two about the band Madness.
I thought it was splitting image for probably most of the 80s.
Right. Okay, but there's a fact about that.
Okay.
Right? There was a game when Spitting Image was big. There was a video game, right, that was also called Spitting Image, but they got sued or they got a cease and desist. So at the last minute, they changed it to Splitting Images.
Ah. But
so you might have heard that.
Split in image actually makes more sense, I think, because spitting image to me doesn't make any sense. I know there's the phrase, he's the spit of him, but if I spit on the floor, that doesn't look like me. I don't think it does. I don't know.
Well,
but
where does that phrase come from?
But if you're saying it's a splitting image, imagine yourself sort of split, and then that's like you, isn't it? I've been split into 2 people. Or I've been split down the middle, but either way, both halves look the same-ish. Not symmetrical, but do you know what I mean? So I think it should be splitting image. I bet the spit of him doesn't mean anything like.
Well, I want to
look it up.
I want to look it up. Why do they say spitting image? Spitten image followed spit and image, and finally spitting image. Began to see the use at the end of the 19th century. It was said of a child that he or she looked enough like a parent to have been spit out of their mouth.
Right, but that makes sense.
That's horrible, isn't it?
Yeah. Weird. All right. But so we should go with splitting image because it makes more sense.
Well, the video game, and this is what video games were like back then, it was basically a picture of the person. It was split into like sections and you had to rearrange it. It was like one of those things. So that sort of worked. But that's not what the program was called.
No.
So yeah, you could have had a sitcom about madness, and I guess they were thinking like the Monkees, right?
Right.
But what bands do you think should have had a comedy sitcom?
Oh God.
None,
because I don't think it's very good.
Okay.
Well, none I like, so I won't have to watch it.
Okay. Well, they obviously went on to write Blackadder together. I mean, that's why this whole section is happening. And you liked Blackadder, didn't you?
I did like Blackadder. I think I like Blackadder 2. Then 3, then 4, then 1 is my least favourite.
Okay.
I'm afraid. Just a bit too... I don't like Blackadder being a bit whatever he is in one.
Oily?
I don't know. Just he's meant to be like he is in the others, isn't he? I was going to say sexy, but he's not in 4, is he? He's not sexy in 4. He's like a dad.
Well, yeah, but I bet some people find him sexy. But he's meant to be sort of sexy in the second one.
Yeah.
I don't know about the third one either, with the wigs and stuff.
Well, he's still on the sexy train, I think. But
he's on the sexy spectrum.
He's getting off the sexy train on 4, and then he's off the sexy train in number 1.
Right.
Mr. Bean, however, choo choo. Sorry, I don't even mean that. I'm just being vulgar. But in 2 he is. But they all are, aren't they? Are they all pretty?
What, Baldrick?
Well, oh no, not him.
Melchett.
No, yeah, you're right. I was thinking Rick Mail.
Oh, well, he's in it, isn't he? Flashheart.
Yeah.
All right, so Q stories. I'm going to read you some Q stories.
Yes.
The Plastercasters, the 60s groupies who achieved mild notoriety by making plaster of Paris casts of various rock stars' wedding tackle, are threatening to display their creations as soon-to-be announced art, in inverted commas, exhibition, and publish a book recounting their achievements and their various victims' reactions. This may be the cause of
Plaster caster, get a hold of me faster. Yeah, I am.
This may be the cause of some concern to a few now respectable rock folk, although Jimi Hendrix, if he was still around, would by all accounts have very little to be ashamed of. The satin-trousered plank spanker reportedly added a new dimension to the expression, they broke the mould.
Oh, wow. Okay.
You've heard plank spanker for guitarists before, right?
No.
Well, now.
You should talk about the song I've just beautifully sung.
Do you want to tell people what that was?
It was Kiss, Plastercaster,
about
these
the Plastercasters.
People.
Yeah.
See?
Yeah.
You hadn't even prepared me for this, and I'd just come out with that.
You just bust it out.
And it was a really good impression of no one that was in Kiss.
It was a tribute. Channel 4 have launched an interview programme with a difference. No interviewer. Celebrities will be interrogated by a computer programmed to ask questions.
Modern.
The unfortunately titled Star Test. I don't know why.
Why is that unfortunate?
Guests that have already signed up for the rigorous but apparently therapeutic half-hour grilling.
Therapeutic. Get off.
Roland Gift, Ian Botham, Wendy James, Craig Charles and Sam Fox. Now, do you remember Star Test?
No, I don't think so. Do you... Craig Charles impression?
I believe you.
Thanks.
I might just cheekily cut in the real one there.
We should watch Red Dwarf again.
Do you know when he says that?
No.
I mean, this is testament to the amount I watched Red Dwarf when I was in my teens, right? There's a bit where Rimmer is recounting how he went to see like a regression therapist and they told him that he was Attila the Hun's chief eunuch in another life. And then Craig Charles said, you know what? I believe you.
Do you remember when we were watching the outtakes of Red Dwarf? This was a while back. You know what I'm going to say? Yeah. And there was that bit where... Was it Crichton dancing with...
Crichton is like dancing with...
some sort of blob thing or something. And there
Camille.
Right. And there was no music or anything over the top. And it was just the funniest thing ever. Do you remember that? That's
one of the few times I've seen you actually lose control.
I mean, yeah, that was really funny.
Is that your favourite bit in Red Dwarf?
Good question. Growing up, I used to like backwards where they were watching the people in the cafe and they were eating an eclair backwards, so making the eclair come out the mouth. Quite like that a lot, just because it was disgusting.
It didn't gross you out.
Well, it sort of did, but it was liked that. But I always find it a bit weird when they go like out, like in that bit they're just on Earth. I always find it a bit jarring when they're when they just wander around a forest and stuff. It's a bit weird, isn't it?
They should be on the ship.
I prefer it when they're in the ship, yeah.
So that would have been on round about this time, 89. I think it started in 88, right?
There you go.
Okay, so you didn't watch Star Test.
Oh gosh, yeah, no, sorry. We were talking about something.
I mean, they're talking about it as if it's you're interviewed by a computer, but no, it was just a voice and they chose the questions.
Right.
It was
therapeutic.
It was fine. Okay, so I've got something here that's pertinent to your interests.
Oh, go on.
Former ballet dancer Yolanda Bergman has taken her job as a diet consultant to a ludicrous extreme in order to protect indulgent rock stars from their own unhealthy eating habits. Yolanda is now a food cop and for a considerable sum of money will visit a rock star's home. I don't know if it's just rock stars. And raid their fridge, throwing out any non-nutritious and fattening foods. Willing participants in these busts have already included Kiss guitarist Paul Stanley, who claimed she discarded all his junk food and replaced it, the coronary-inducing scoff, with, quotes, food I've never seen in my house, like vegetables. So there you go, some Kiss content, some more Kiss content for you.
That'd be so boring because, yeah, it's good to eat healthy, but sometimes you need a packet of oysters, don't you?
I don't know if oysters existed in the 80s, though, did they?
Not sure. No, probably not. Well, I don't know. Look it up.
Well,
get the answer.
If you're a rock star who had your fridge raided by Yolanda Bergman and you're listening, just let us know if she chucked out your oysters.
She chucked out your oysters, yeah.
An article about Hawkwind.
Okay.
Which is something that we'd probably see in Kerrang. So this is the quote I liked. Playing music isn't always the best thing to do when you've taken acid. I remember I looked out into the audience and they'd all turned into skeletons. When the red lights came on, I thought it was blood all over me.
Oh my God.
So that's going to affect your ability to play a solo, isn't it?
It would do.
That's pretty metal though, isn't it? If you're like getting into it and you just see loads of skeletons,
yeah.
Drop the needle on the Album Nerds podcast.
It's just the Album Nerds.
It's just Album Nerds.
Join Andy, Don, and Dude each week as they discuss albums from themes chosen by the Wheel of Musical Discovery.
Heavy metal guitar virtuosos.
Double albums.
TV raps.
Punk rock.
The top 10 albums of 1986.
Uncover hidden gems, revisit classics, and hear fresh takes on your favorite records.
Exile on Main Street.
Some of what country music can do best is that storytelling.
This is a messy album, for sure.
I just want to hear Floyd in everything, I think.
Born in the USA.
And it sounds great overall as an album. I'm just not moved by it.
The Album Nerds podcast. Three guys talking music.
This is what we call freestyling.
Yes. That's what we call freestyling. No one else would call it that. Other people would call it find another podcast to listen to. Okay, so
give it a spin wherever you find podcasts and albumnerds.com.
So there's a little interview with Nigel Dick. Do you know who Nigel Dick is?
No. Do I? No.
He's a big budget rock video director.
Oh, no, I don't.
So he's directed videos for Tears for Fears, Status Quo, and Band Aid. But this is mostly about him and his relationship with Guns N' Roses. So again, it's relevant to our normal podcasting.
Desperately trying to claw it back.
We did Welcome to the Jungle, but it didn't get played and it died and the album wasn't selling. Then suddenly everybody started to get it. And MTV, who hadn't liked the video, who'd said it was a piece of shit, suddenly decided it was brilliant.
Did they really say it was a piece of shit?
Well, they said it was a piece of shit. So I think we should trust him. After 50 days, they had to take it off because it had been around for too long and it was their most requested video. So he did Sweet Child of Mine, Paradise City, and Welcome to the Jungle. All three have a style that accentuates the band's charisma without reducing it to a cliche. In each case, the nub of the video is a Guns N' Roses performance in all its classical fury. Paradise City, the fiercest of them all, they said, we're supporting Aerosmith at Giant Stadium in New York in front of 60,000 kids. Now, Guns N' Roses, however big they are not going to be headlining stadiums of that size for 3 or 4 years. I mean, I think within about 2 years they were, but it gives the impression to the viewer that they can pull that number of people. So let's get them wandering around New York in a couple of days and let's get them on Concorde going to play Castle Donington. So you a fan of those videos? I mean,
yeah.
If you think of Paradise City, yeah, they're playing to like, it's their first album and they're playing to like that gigantic stadium.
Right.
So that's exciting. Q&A, you get to write in and ask questions, and I'll give you the question, but I won't give you the answer.
Okay.
This is from Thomas Pertill in County Tipperary. I bought one of Q's highly recommended albums by Crowded House, and it's called The Temple of Low Men. And I wanted to ask you if you knew what the Temple of Low Men was a euphemism for.
The Temple of Low Men. No.
It's something rude.
A human body part.
Yeah.
Of a girl?
Yeah.
Is it a vagina?
Yeah. Whispering eye. And I remember reading an interview with them and they revealed that, and they said, I mean, it might be too disgusting for you, but they said they also considered the eye that weeps most when most pleased.
Oh. Jesus. Behave.
Someone's written in.
None of these got mums, and they just think, well, we can't say that because my mum's going to hear it.
Yeah, but
my mum's going to read this.
Their mum's probably not going to know.
She might. She
might
read
think,
this.
Temple of Low Men. That's quite a deep, interesting name.
Yeah, and then they'll ask, and then what do they say? Do they lie to their mum?
I mean, I would.
You would.
There's the interview with Sting. Do you remember that time he was hanging around in the rainforest?
Not really. I didn't pay much attention to Sting. If I'm honest.
Yeah, he was definitely in his sort of save the world mode. And they talk about the greenhouse effect. With an international debt of $100 billion, some Brazilians are asking why they should be expected to start making economic sacrifices on behalf of the world's ecosystem. Burning the forest gives off excessive carbon dioxide, the, quote, greenhouse effect, which is then made worse because there are no longer the trees to absorb it. So this is the point in time where people were only just hearing about this stuff in like mainstream media.
When did that whole CFC, like when, you know, like when people were scared to break polystyrene because CFCs had come out or whatever, and so things started saying no CFCs. When was that?
About this time, yeah, late 80s.
Because I'm still scared to break polystyrene now because of that.
I mean, I broke some earlier when
No, it's not polystyrene, it's styrofoam, isn't it?
Oh, right.
Styrofoam.
Right.
I don't know what the scientific difference is, but it is different.
It is different, yeah. It feels different.
Yeah. But I was always scared to break styrofoam.
And because there's a gas inside it.
Must be.
Right.
I don't know. But then McDonald's packets used to say no CFCs, didn't they? Inside.
Yeah. Yeah. After a while.
Yeah.
Well,
wow,
that's interesting.
We're old.
So, yeah, he used to, you know, he was traveling around the world with this guy from this tribe in Brazil. And I don't know if you remember it, but he's got this like wooden disc in his lip. And I only just read it in here. And it's basically to scare people. I never knew why people did that.
Right.
You know, they live in this very sort of remote tribe, and when they get outsiders, they want people to fuck. They don't want people bothering them, so they make themselves look as scary as possible. So obviously he's Sting. There's some good quotes. They're talking about Elvis Costello Costello's reputation rested purely on his abilities as an artist and a songwriter without the distraction of being a pin-up and a bit of a pop star, as in your case. So he's taking it entirely serious. And this is Sting's response. Yeah, I'm not sure that's my problem. It's more the media's. David Lee Roth said about Elvis Costello that critics like him because he looks like a music critic, which I always thought was pretty sus. And like this, I remember like reading that David Lee Roth quote. He's saying, critics don't like me because I look like me. There's a bit here about Rod Stewart. There were stories of pranks to and fro between you and Rod Stewart. Sting's response. Again, it's the received knowledge about me. We had a plane in America. Rod had used it the night before for his gig. We took it over the next day. So I sit down at this table and there, very intricately carved, is, where's your fucking sense of humour, you miserable git string? I see this and I get the stewardess. What's this? She says, I know, I'm sorry, I was going to explain. Rod Stewart did it yesterday. And I said, a 50-year-old man sat here for half an hour and wrote me this message. I don't believe it.
Is that on the other page, the Lloyd Cole that Limmy talks about?
Yeah. Lloyd Cole and the Commotions have got a compilation album out, 84 to 89. But you should definitely look at Limmy's video of responding to Lloyd Cole's review of his autobiography. Because he doesn't like him very much.
It's very funny.
It is very funny. But we've read that autobiography and it's really good.
I saw that the other day on my bookshelf. Daftry Stories and what's the other one called?
Surprisingly down to earth and very funny.
Oh, yeah, of course. And I thought, oh gosh, I should read those again. I think it's the only book that's made me laugh as I was reading it. They're very funny.
Yeah, that's a strong recommendation for Limmy's books. So did you fancy Sting? Did Sting do it for you? He's a good looking lad back then. Look at him.
No, he is.
He's all
but
thoughtful.
I
He's got
think
stubble.
around that time, a thoughtful man who was behaving, like a man is not what
Not of
was.
interest.
It wasn't aimed at me. I was like Jason Donovan, Would that
Which,
been about
89?
Yeah, it would have been about that time. So he was just too, it wasn't on my radar at all.
So blonde pop hunks. Donovan, yes. Sting, no. How about Pat Sharp?
Pat Sharp was on my radar, but for Funhouse.
And not for
Whole
sexy.
lot of fun, prizes to be won. It's a real crazy show where anything will go. Use your body and your brain if you want to play the game. Na 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 na.
We'll have to put.
Everyone enjoyed that.
We'll have to put the Funhouse intro on the video playlist.
My God, yeah. Best thing about that was I always wanted to run through a tube of balloons. Always, always. Thanks for that.
Is that what they did on that?
Yeah. And at the last bit where they had the go-karts, two kids are in go-karts.
Yeah.
And they've got to whiz around this track and grab things as they go past, and their prizes like, a day abseiling or some shit like that, right? So they grab these, and then at the end, how many prizes have you won? Fun concept, right? But it used to bother me because one obviously because it's a racetrack, one starts obviously behind the other one.
Right.
And I could never get it through my head why that made sense. And I always felt like that one was definitely going to lose out, but obviously didn't. Understand now how space and time works more than I did then. But yeah, it just used to bother me. You never watched it?
No, I think it was after.
You were too old.
I mean, I was watching Run Around and Cheggers Plays Pot.
We should watch Funhouse. Maybe we should watch it.
That's our next binge.
Just because they get to run around. The Funhouse is really. I mean, the clue's in the name. It's fun, isn't it? Right? It's basically like a wacky warehouse, but like loads more fun.
Yeah.
If you can imagine such a thing. Imagine the wacky warehouse, but funner. Right?
Was it the same games every week? Or was it different?
Yeah, no, it's the same.
Right.
Yeah, exactly the same. Well, you have the Funhouse, and they've got to answer questions. Then they run through the Funhouse, and then I think they've got to grab a prize, through the funhouse, and then at the end they do the go-karts and grab prizes.
Yeah.
It's a lot of prize grabbing. They must have come away with loads of stuff.
Did they-
Walkman, shit like that.
Did they have bands on there, or was it not?
God,
that kind
no.
of- Well, they had Cheggers Plays Pop.
They had the twins.
I know everyone fancied the Twins. That's all I know about. Pat Sharp, that song and the Twins is all I know about that.
I mean, that's pretty much it. I mean,
Yeah, but I don't know the actual content.
It wasn't
of
that deep. I've just told you the concept. You grab a lot of prizes, you run through the funhouse. There's different ways you can go through the funhouse. So, like, one bit would be you go up one bit and then down a slide and then you come out. Or you can run through the tube of balloons. That was obviously the best bit. Although I think now that would make me really scared because I'd be scared they were going to burst in my face, or I'd get trapped. Like they'd wedge me in, and then I'd be stuck in a balloon thing forever in the funhouse, and I'd die.
It's just sort of Black Mirror Funhouse.
Yeah, Pat Shop just laughing, screaming questions at me, and I can't answer them.
I've just looked it up.
Yeah.
First episode, 24th February 1989. So
Oh my goodness
bang
me.
in the fucking right year to
That's
be talking
weird.
about this.
Maybe Pat Sharp's speaking through us. I know he's not dead. I'm just like, like channeling through
I
it.
think we talk about Pat Sharp a lot because, like,
Do we?
he had 2 hits. Pat Sharp and Mick. Pat and Mick.
They were banging hits.
Yeah,
though.
they had,
Really good hits.
Yeah.
Hence the word
use
hits.
Up, wear out. What was the
Yep.
other one?
Haven't stopped dancing yet.
Yes.
That was really good. You can imagine a party where you have those two and Atmosphere by Russ Abbott, and it's just those 3 songs on a loop. Imagine how much fun that party would be. In the funhouse, you're in the funhouse and those 3 songs are playing on a loop. Imagine.
You're trapped in some
and you-
balloon.
You get trapped in a
nightmare.
balloon tube and you can't get out, and yeah.
Can you imagine?
Oh, what an atmosphere.
So there's a whole article about musical genres and where they do well in the UK.
Right.
I did quite like they've got the symbols for the various music styles. So psychedelia is a mushroom, gothic rock is a sort of cross, country is a Stetson, high energy is some legs dancing, reggae is a palm tree, indie rock is like a raincoat.
That's weird.
Like, well, I think they're thinking of like, the Smiths and Joy Division and stuff. That sort of
right, okay.
gloomy northern. Soul is like a microphone in a spotlight. Jazz funk is furry dice.
Right.
Celtic rock is a castle, and heavy metal is a flying V guitar. So it's just basically a map of the country
Let me have a look.
with various music styles. But I mean,
But where they came from? These bands?
yeah, kind of. But I mean, I think everything comes from everywhere, really. But it's just pointing out a few. It says metal is very big in the northeast and Yorkshire and the Midlands.
Me looking at this is not interesting telly, but
Is there anything that jumps out to you? Because it's saying Thin Lizzy are Celtic rock, but I would say they're metal.
yeah, I would
Right.
say they're heavy metal. Interesting.
Shakin' Stevens.
Shaky. What's he? What?
Well, it's pointing
Heavy
to-
metal.
Well, it's pointing to Cardiff because he's obviously very famously Welsh, but I think they're saying metal is big in Wales.
Right. Well, what?
I mean, he's his own genre anyway.
I was going to say, what would he be? High energy. That dude is high energy.
Well, rock and roll, isn't it? He's authentic rock and roll.
He is Green Door.
Something I liked about this is a big photo that we start off with is heavy metal fans relax in the comfortable setting of Castle Donington's rock festival. So it's a great photo of all these metalheads like rocking out. But if you look right at the front,
You're pressing stuff with your mouse.
what is this guy got on his jacket? Yeah, Blue Oyster Cult. He's got a fucking Genesis patch.
What a loser.
Or what a cool dude.
What a loser.
Wow.
What a little dork.
Well, I think it's cool. Yeah. So
Do your American Psycho impression.
No.
I was thinking about that the other day because Susudio came on my YouTube playlist, and just all I think of was you.
Do you like Phil Collins?
Yeah.
Well, the best bit is my favourite album there is his Duke. A big article about The Cure. But we are coming up to our Type 40.
Yeah.
So whether you want to come back to Q, I mean, we've still got a fucking fuck ton of Q to get through, but I'm getting through it quite quickly. We'll do another episode on Q.
Okay.
I think we both enjoyed it. We learned a few things.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think I've learned anything, but
we've talked about Funhouse.
We've talked about Funhouse, yeah.
Of which there wasn't anything in this article.
It's outrageous.
So have you got any recommendations for the listeners?
What in life?
Anything.
I think this is what I was thinking of with the deep cuts. It's not deep cuts, but I think I was thinking
You can broaden it.
that I was going to suggest, if you like Prince, to listen to Emancipation if you haven't for a while. The album, because it's really good. It's really 90s, and it's just really, really good songs.
Yeah, because everyone says, "Oh, Prince after the '80s, he wasn't really much cop," but like, yeah, people overlook all those albums, don't they?
And there's a video for Bet You By Golly, wow. And at the beginning bit, it's really good because Prince is putting petrol in his car, and it's nice to see Prince doing normal things. And the thing is, I bet he did put petrol in his car because he drove around, didn't he? People said he drove his car around Minneapolis, like he just drove. Yeah, in that book, the guy, the one I got that was going to turn into something else, but obviously he died before it was finished. That one.
Yeah.
He says that he spent some time with Prince, and Prince drove him around. So, like, in, I think, Minneapolis, Prince just acted like a normal dude. But so I bet he did put petrol in his car.
And it was,
because normally you'd look at the video and go, Prince has never put petrol in his car.
Well, that was my first thought. Right?
But I bet he has. And he looked good doing it. He didn't look like he didn't know what he was doing.
Well, he looked good doing everything, you know.
This is true. And he's wearing a really funny big coat in it. Like a really big anorak. It's just really good.
1996, Emancipation came out.
Right.
Yeah, it's real like smooth.
It is hella smooth.
Funk in it.
So Emancipation would be mine.
Yeah, there's deep album cuts.
And it's really long.
If you had to give...
I think it's double CD, isn't it?
Well, if you had to just
triple.
Recommend one track, would it be Bet Your Boy by Golly Wow?
Probably.
Slave is on there. Bet Your Boy Golly Wow. The Holy River, Somebody's Somebody.
I like that. There's a music video for that. Because obviously there's not a music video for...
Oh my God, it's 3 discs.
3 I thought it was long.
Is that got The Love We Make? The Love We Make is my favourite.
Yeah.
One of my favourite Prince songs.
Really?
He played that when we saw him, and I was like, fucking hell, man, this is a good song. And
yeah.
Looked in our vast, extensive Prince collection and found it. But I don't think I've listened to this album all the way through because fucking hell, 3 discs.
I've told you to. You need to.
Well, I will do.
Yeah.
All right. Well,
so there you go.
That's 2 deep cuts. Before we go, I mean, you know about this, but this week, we actually sold some merch.
Yeah. So big time. We're going to be doing some signings at the local Wacky Warehouse. You'll have to sort of get us before we get into the Wacky Warehouse itself, because obviously once we're in there,
we're only signing like Shakin' Stevens singles.
We exclusively sign Shaky singles.
Shaky merch. The Shaky Spectrum game we'll sign, you know.
Yeah, cassettes, anything really.
But if you're insane enough to want to wear a T-shirt of our podcast, get your ass over to Redbubble because we got some designs there. And someone's bought one and it exists in real life, and that wasn't even me.
When I saw that picture, I thought you'd photoshopped it, and for ages I was looking at it thinking I couldn't understand what I was looking at. But yeah, very, very flattering, very nice.
This is actually the second the second sale I made on Redbubble, right?
If you bought the first one, it doesn't count.
Yeah, I did.
Did you?
I did,
right. I was joking.
I'll show you, because when we were going to do our giveaway, I thought, well, we're going to, obviously no one has yet written in for the giveaway.
It's more of an insult to the darkness of anything, or the CD industry as a whole, given that you can listen to anything without an actual CD in your hand.
But I did some stickers. So if we ever
everyone likes stickers,
send anything out, we've got stickers to send them.
I mean, you've got dirt on this one, but yeah.
Where's it? Well,
I mean, that is standard you, that is.
Suspicious stain.
Right, yeah, maybe don't give that one away.
All right, so
nice.
That's our
stickers, mate.
That's a Type 46, huh?
Type 46.
Type 46. Episode 46.
You've told me about this. Have we talked about this today?
That this is episode 46.
Oh, is this right? Got it. Oh, God. I was thinking, right, you said 46 to me at some point. Now I've got to delve into my brain, try and work out.
Yeah. So what's going to be issue 47? It might be the second half of Q. It might be... But
don't forget at the beginning of 47 to go, hey, it's episode 47. Do you know what's interesting about that? And then I go, what? And you'll be like, it's nearly 50. And I'll be like, that's not exciting about this one. And then we could do that every one up until 50.
I was trying to manufacture some enthusiasm about our 50th podcast, because I think that's an achievement.
If you want enthusiasm, you have come to the wrong place, okay. I'm afraid.
All right. Well,
sorry.
Do you want to sign off?
Stay metal.
Stay metal. Stay shaky.
Shaky.
Contestants, messy games, the fun car Grand Prix race, and the crazy chase to win lots of prizes. Now here's the guy who puts the fun into fun